em ter o casal Kiyosaki aqui conosco. Eu vou ler um pouco sobre ele. Ele é nascido e criado no Havaí, faz parte da 4ª geração de uma família nipo-americana, provém de uma destacada família de educadores. Seu pai foi diretor de ensino no estado do Havaí. Ele concluiu o ensino médio e o Robert prosseguiu a sua formação em Nova York. E depois de formado entrou para a Marinha dos Estados Unidos, indo para o Vietnã como oficial e piloto de helicóptero de combate. Voltando da guerra, teve início a sua carreira de negócios e em 1977 fundou a empresa que colocou no mercado a primeira carteira para surfistas, aquela de nylon e velcro que a gente abria e fazia barulho. Não sei quantos de vocês aqui foram adolescentes que nem eu, mas eu fui surfista lá no Rio de Janeiro e eu me lembro muito dessa carteira, marcou minha vida. E esse negócio se transformou num negócio multimilionário e foi vendida essa carteira no mundo inteiro. Ele abandonou o mundo dos negócios em 1995 para se tornar cofundador de uma empresa internacional de material educativo, que opera em 7 países, tendo ensinado negócios e investimentos a milhões de pessoas em todo o mundo. É autor do best-seller Pai Rico, Pai Pobre, todos vocês conhecem, e que também originou outras obras relacionadas. Toda essa série já vendeu mais de 20 milhões de livros pelo mundo. A vinda do casal Ken e Robert Kiyosaki só foi possível graças à editora Campos e Elsevier, que muito nos honrou em patrocinar e trazê-los para o Brasil pela primeira vez. Então, eu queria dar uma grande salva de palmas ao Robert Kiyosaki. And invite Robert. Com vocês, Pai Rico.
If I may see a show of hands again, how many people have read Rich Dad, Poor Dad? Okay. Has anybody not read the book? Oh, good. There's a few more out there. Good. There's always some more books to sell out there, so I'm very happy about that. Thank you all for being here today. This is, for my wife and I, my first trip to Brazil, and I'm looking forward to seeing it. I've been to Peru and Argentina, but never to Brazil, so it's nice to be here. For those who have not read the book, my book, I'll just give you a little bit of my background. Thank Robert for telling me what he said about me, but I didn't understand what he said about me because I don't speak Portuguese. So anyway, I'll just give you my background. My name is Kiyosaki. I'm 4th generation Japanese American. My parents, my great-great-grandparents came over to Hawaii in the 1880s, and they came to work in the sugar and pineapple plantations of Hawaii. And so I don't speak Japanese at all. I barely speak English, and I don't speak Portuguese, so I apologize for that. But anyway, the story of Rich Dad, Poor Dad is a true story about my 2 dads. My real dad was the head of education for the state of Hawaii, very smart man, PhD in education. But as you know, since our school systems don't teach us much about money, you can be very smart in school but know nothing about money. So my rich dad was my best friend's father, and although he was a man with no education, he became one of the richest men in Hawaii. And so if you've ever seen pictures of Waikiki Beach, you will see the white sand beaches, the tall coconut trees, the hula girls, and the big hotels. My rich dad's family owns the land under those hotels. So they estimate that they'll never have to work. None of the kids will ever have to. Not that that's good, but they're free to do what they wanted. And my rich dad started with nothing. So Rich Dad, Poor Dad is a very simple story of what 2 fathers said to their sons about money. And starting at the age of 9, my rich dad started, I go to my poor dad, and I said, Dad, what should I do? And he'd say, go to school, get good grades, so you can get a good job. And I said, I don't want to do that. I said, tell me how to get rich. He says, go to school, get good grades, and get a job. I said, Dad, that's what you did. You're not rich. And so that's where the argument started between my father and I. So finally he said to me, if you want to be rich, go talk to your best friend's father. And so I went to see my rich dad, and he very simply said, if you want to be rich, do like he does. He's an entrepreneur. And he says, I invest. I build companies, many companies, invest in real estate and things like this. So I said, okay. And unfortunately, I really didn't know who to listen to. So I went to school. I had very bad grades. I flunked out of school twice because I cannot write, and I have very poor English. And so it's kind of strange for me today to be known as a writer. I think my English teachers are still alive. And what I think I'll do is look them up, find out where they are, and I'll mail them a copy of my book, page by page, saying, here's my book, most English teachers still claim I can't write. So as I say in this book, I'm not a best writing author. I'll never win a Pulitzer Prize or anything like this, but I'm a best-selling author. And so that's what entrepreneurs do, is sell. There's a very big difference. So anyway, when I graduated from high school, if not for my dad, I might not have graduated. But I still graduated at the bottom of my class, but I still got, and my father said he would not pay for my education because I had such bad grades. And so I applied to the U.S. Congress for scholarships, and I got 2 nominations, one to the U.S. Naval Academy at Annapolis, Maryland. That's where John McCain went to. And then the other one was the U.S. Merchant Marine Academy at Kings Point, New York. So I took Kings Point, and I went through 4 years of military school there, which was very good because I needed discipline. And upon graduation, I got hired by a company called Standard Oil of California, or Petrobras, a very big company. And what I did for Standard Oil was I drove ships with them. I was a ship's officer, a tanker officer. And I was making back then pretty good money. Back in 1969, I was making about $47,000 a year. And most of my classmates were making about $110,000, $150,000 a year. So that's not a lot of money, but back then it was a lot of money. And the trouble was that the Vietnam War was still on. And I felt badly because, my friends were going to Vietnam and dying, and I didn't have to go. And the reason I didn't have to go was for one reason, and that one word, oil. If you work for oil companies, you're exempt. So I didn't have to go to war. I was making all this money at the age of 21, and I decided I wouldn't get the job. I gave up my job, and I volunteered for the U.S. Marine Corps to go fly in Vietnam. So I went to flight school in Florida and went to Vietnam. And so I flew the helicopter gunship in Vietnam. And in Vietnam, I went down 3 times, and each time I came back, which was good, And the first time I crashed, it was very frightening. I went down into the ocean, and we all had to swim. And so for 2 weeks, I couldn't fly because I was so nervous. So after I calmed down, I said, okay, it's time to go again. So I climbed back into the helicopter, took off, crashed again. And then I'm shaking again, So, but it only took 1 week to recover. So the 3rd time, I climbed back in, crashed again. So, and I said, that's no problem now. So I'm going to climb back in. The trouble is nobody wanted to fly with me after that. so anyway, okay. But when I came back from the war, I went to see my dad, my poor dad again, and my poor dad had lost his job. He was fired. And the reason he was fired was because he ran for the governor of Hawaii. And he lost. And the governor said to my dad, you will never work again because you ran against me in political office. So my dad couldn't find a job. So here I am, 25 years old, my dad's 50 years old. I come back from the war, and my dad is unemployed. And I sat down and I said, what are you doing? He said, I can't find a job. I said, okay. And I said, Dad, I'm going to get out of the Marine Corps.